Hello friends and welcome back to the channel where today I'm going to be walking you through the X-Magika Alliance War Showcase. All these fights are going to be solos, no items used, and we're going to start off today with the right side path, which I think is a bit easier. So the first fight is a shared fight. It's this Cosmic Ghost Rider, and the deal here is if you ever let him heavy in this fight, you're probably going to die because he's going to trigger Damnation, and then the degen is going to kill you probably. And even if it doesn't, you'll be so close to death, it's really not worth continuing. So if you do trigger Damnation on yourself, just restart the quest. There's really no need to use a revive on the very first fight. Now what you're going to see me do in this and other fights is anytime that he stands back and holds block, I'm going to take that opportunity to hit into his block like 4 times, and that's going to give me a passive prowess. And you need these passive prowess with the tactic attackers in order to prevent the indestructible passives. You can see the timer on CGR there. So anytime that timer finishes, or if you trigger dexterity, it's going to trigger an indestructible passive on him. But if you have a prowess on yourself, one of those prowesses will be consumed to prevent that indestructible from happening. So you're seeing me parry the last hit of his special 1 here. You're seeing me parry him a lot straight up, and then hitting into his block is also going to give you extra prowess. So other champs that work well here, Werewolf, Wiccan, but you can really use any tactic attacker here. Alright, moving on, we have another shared fight. This is Lady DEATHSTRIKE. She has a bunch of regen in this fight, both from Buffet Overtime and Arc Overload. Keep in mind that she's also immune to heal block effects, and that her regen rate cannot be modified. So you essentially either need to do one of 2 things in this fight. You can either bring a character who is immune to nullify or is immune to buff straight up, and that'll prevent the buffet over time, or you can bring a character like Gladiator who can just straight up out damage all of her sources of healing. So this is a very standard Gladiator fight. I am triggering buffet, but once I'm ramped up with my confidence buffs here, you're going to see my damage is just going to skyrocket, and we're going to easily out damage her healing. So I'm building up to the special 2. The only real danger in this fight is if she happens to trigger her unstoppable on one of your special attacks. And again, similar to the CGR fight, if she does that and you end up getting wrecked, probably worth it just to start over. I mean, this is a relatively straightforward fight, so is the previous one. So there we go. We've got the incinerates from the special 2 up there, and we've got 25 confidence buffs, and now you're going to see our damage just keep climbing. Combo into the striker, full combo into another heavy here, and yeah, just doing a lot of damage. Special 1, we are above 20 confidence, so we can hit into her while her special attack is going, and she goes down. Alright, right side path, first fight up is a Kate Bishop, and I talked a minute ago about hitting into block. That's really what you're going to want to do a lot here. You can also safely parry her for extra prowess, but remember, when her repost is active, you cannot hit her while she's stunned or she will counterattack you. So once you get your prowess up, it's really a straightforward fight. I prefer not to push Kate to her special 2, and then I like to parry the final hit of her special 1, just for some extra prowess. I chose Havok for this fight just because I wanted Havok for a Nick Fury later. We'll talk about that in a minute. I have Havok at rank 2. One thing about my team here, a lot of the tactic attackers are kind of interchangeable, and like I said at the start of the video, the tactic is very powerful, and you can use pretty much anybody in place of Havok here. Like Toad is a really good one. I used Strife a lot during that season. Pretty much anybody can get you through this fight. I also saw a lot of people use non-tactic attackers for this content. I wouldn't really recommend that. It's much more difficult to keep a lid on the indestructible passes. So in any tactic defender fight in this content, you want to bring a tactic attacker. Just, don't make life extra difficult on yourself. Alright, next up is a KINGPIN. This is a pretty tricky fight if you have the wrong kind of attacker. So I went with Negasonic here just because she doesn't give KINGPIN any extra debuffs. One of the side effects of the tactic is that when you have 3 or more prowess effects, you completely eliminate the defender's ability to purify a debuff. And what makes KINGPIN so dangerous is that if he is unable to purify, he cannot remove his rage debuffs, and he cannot remove the debuffs from the standing in fear mode, or node rather. And as you can see, the more debuffs he has, the more his combat power rate is going to climb. So a champ like Negasonic, who doesn't apply debuffs and gets all her damage via the passives, is going to do very well for you here. In season, we sent Toad to this fight quite a bit. As long as you keep a lid on the indestructibles and your prowess again, he should do fine. I also took this fight once in season with Longshot. And I probably wouldn't recommend that. It was not the easiest fight, but it was fine. You just get up to the special 2 and just nuke him down with some incinerates. But pretty much any tactic attacker here is going to work. You just really got to be careful and take it slow if you're not using somebody like Negasonic. And I think this special 2 is going to finish him off there. Really, really enjoy using Negasonic for that fight. All right, next up we have a Nick Fury on the Hazard Shift Mini. He's got Incinerate and Shock, so we're going to use Havok here. Havok, of course, is immune to Incinerate, and he has a considerable amount of energy resistance. Now, in season, we would normally supply him with an Odin pre-fight anyways to basically make him immune to the shocks, but obviously I didn't have room on my team here, and this is the last fight that we need Havok for, so I figured as long as he can make it through this fight without dying from the shock damage, should be fine. You have a bunch of other options here. Again, if you want to bring Odin for your team, you can basically bring any Incinerate immune champ. Sunspot will work really well here. Bishop will also work really well here. He has a bunch of energy resistance, and he's going to go ballistic whenever you put energy damage on him. So, other than that, it's pretty much a straight-up fight. Again, you want to prevent him from using that special 1, but if he does throw it and it's not unblockable, just try and parry that first hit. I'm kind of taking my chances with dexing the special 2, keeping one eye on my prowess, and if I have more than enough, then I'm going to dex the final hit of that special 2, and that'll give me an opening to counter. I really want to kind of keep the rhythm of the fight going, make sure that I keep him above 2 bars of power at all time. You can also see I'm kind of holding on to my striker, and ideally I want to kill him in his second life with a special 2. It doesn't quite work out that way. I should have been a little bit more patient, as you'll see. So he tosses a special 2 here, and now I basically have to throw this special 2 or take a bunch of block damage baiting out a heavy. I know that this isn't going to kill him because he's still degenning, so this is kind of like a waste of a special 3, to be honest, because all that health that he's losing, he would lose anyways from his infinity formula, whatever it's called. Other than that, again, very standard Havok fight. I'm not even worrying about the hazard shift debuffs at all. Baiting out a heavy there, he's very cooperative. And he's just about dead here. So yeah, again, the hazard shift is probably the most dangerous part of this fight. Keep a careful eye on your prowess passives. He obviously cannot be stunned in second life, but you can still well-time block him and gain your prowess that way. All right, this I think is the trickiest fight on the right side path. This is Adam Warlock on the Node 47 Mini, and what happens with this fight is anytime a buff on Adam Warlock expires, you're going to get a timer on yourself, and you have to knock him down with a heavy or a special attack while that timer is going, or else you're going to get faltered. And if you successfully do that, then he ends up getting faltered. Other things to worry about here is that you cannot parry Adam too many times, or he starts gaining his unblockable. You have to dex the first hit of his special 1, which you'll see me do, but you can block or parry like the second hit. If he hits your block with the first part of that special 1, he's also going to trigger unblockable and knock you down here. So right there, I triggered the falter on him by knocking him down. I foolishly thought, I don't really know what I was thinking there, why I thought I could just stand there and parry that special 1. So that was definitely a mistake on my part. White Tiger, really, really good for this fight, just because she keeps the tempo of the fight going really well. She has really strong access to specials because of her power steal, just an all-around good option. Werewolf, another good shout for this fight. I've seen Wiccan do this fight. You probably want a Mystic for this fight, but I took Adam Warlock in season with like a Havok on Hazard Shift, and it was fine. So, all right, we got the big bleed on him, which is going to counteract all of his life post-pod, and we get out of there with the W. All right, the last shared fight on this path is a Shuri. She's on the Prowess Puncture and Conflictor Mini, and we're going to use Gladiator here, mostly because Gladiator has easy access to Vigilance, which we will use from his special 2, and that's going to get us easier openings for her whenever she starts to go untouchable. So the deal with this node here is every time you trigger a prowess, you're also going to give her an impact charge, which is just going to increase the damage that she deals on you through your block. And you get the prowess on her by doing the same attack many times in a row. And then Conflictor, anytime you put a debuff on her, she's going to gain some power, but we don't really need to worry about that. We just need to make sure that when we fire off our special 2 and we're applying the Incinerates, that she has plenty of power left to give. Trying not to push her to her special 2 because the special 1 is punishable. I'm not sure the special 2 is actually punishable, but you can dex out of the special 1 as you can see there. Alright, so right there we do push her to the special 2 after I just got done saying that I didn't really want to do that, but it's fine because we have the Vigilance buff on us now, so now we can safely bait out a heavy from her. She's untouchable, but it doesn't matter, and then we can continue on. So Gladiator, just such a really, really good option for this quest in general. Just what an incredibly powerful champ he is. If you have a Gladiator, even at like rank 5, 6 star, highly recommend you bring him along. Alright, and for the boss node, this is a thing. This is a much beefier thing than we would see in season. 7-star thing didn't really exist yet, and anybody who had him, I think, didn't have him awakened. So we were only seeing like rank 5 ascended things. So this fight is pretty is a lot longer than it was in season. I did take a few thing bosses with Void during the X-Magika meta. It's very straightforward. Just, takes a lot of patience, a lot of concentration. So again, with Void, you're going to be dealing a constant flow of damage for pretty much the entire fight, and since it's direct damage, you're going to be getting around all of the buffs that he's getting from Adaptive. So it doesn't matter how high his energy resistance, how high his physical resistance gets, all of your debuffs are going to be dealing the same amount of damage. So having said that, the only thing that you need to worry about then is keeping a lid on your rock stacks and then your prowess. Void has a really good dex in that he can dex out of heavies and some specials without actually triggering dexterity mastery, and that really goes a long way towards making sure that you have plenty of prowess just in case he starts turtling up and you need to bait a lot of specials. A reminder here, I feel like I say this in literally every fight against Thing with Void, your special attacks have 2 hit components to each of them, so in terms of rock stacks, your magic number is always going to be 13. You can always safely throw your special attack at 13 rock stacks, and that'll give him 15 and you'll be good to go. Yeah, I don't know that I have much more to say about this fight in particular. It's like a 3.5 minute fight, and I am going to show all the fights from the right side as well, and the ones that are repeated I will speed up because there's really no need to go through them again, unless I'm using a different attacker for some of them. But yeah, Void's really tanky, really high health pool. The one thing that has caught me against Thing before, and actually I gave up a death versus a Thing boss a couple seasons ago, is that you need to be really, really conscious of when you are hitting his block in order to kind of like fake taunt him. There are times where he will be blocking and then he will drop his block and let you intercept him, and then that'll push him into unstoppable, and then he's almost certainly going to then throw an unblockable special in your face or combo you and get to his special 3, and then you're going to be dead. So just, again, be really, really careful when you hit into his block. Make sure that you have, as Dorky Dave used to call it, block confirmation. And I know it does feel like these days the defenders don't really like to block much anymore. They like to special intercept. So, again, just something to kind of to be aware of. There are plenty of other champions who can do this fight as well. Obviously, I'm using Void because I'm comfortable with it, and I've done this fight before with him. Deathless Guillotine is really, really good for this fight. I saw some folks use Crossbones and Black Cat, neither of whom are tactic attackers, but again, if you are willing to risk it, those fights are going to be a little bit faster. I think BMcG did this fight with Black Cat in like 2 minutes or so. And I don't think his is at rank 3 either, so it can even be faster. And I saw, I think Andrew the Rough did Crossbones on this fight in like less than a minute, but he's obviously way good. He's obviously way better than I am. So your mileage may vary with that. All right, we're coming up on the end of the fight here. 15 rock stacks, 2% health left. Basically just need to wait this fight out. The one thing I really like about the showcase compared to an actual Alliance War fight is that there's no threat of timing out. Like, they give you plenty of time to do the entire path, which is really nice. So there you go, all fights soloed on the right side path of the showcase, and now I think I included my rewards. This is actually my first time going through this content. And let's go ahead and jump into the left side path. Alright, for the left side path, you can see we've made a couple adjustments to our team. We're running Black Cat, Chee'ilth, Wiccan, and Gladiator here. So Wiccan we want because there is a Vision AARKUS on the third fight, and we want an armor break immune so that we can avoid all the cold snap damage here, and Wiccan is armor break immune. So Wiccan works very well for this Cosmic Ghost Rider. The strategy is almost identical to what you did with White Tiger. Hitting into his block again as much as possible just to keep our prowess topped off at 7. And then we are forced to dex the special one when it's unblockable, but we are trying to parry the final hit for kind of like a free extra prowess. That also kind of works in your favor because I find that CGR's recovery time on a special one to be very, very quick. And if you are like a couple frames too slow, he's going to parry you or he's going to counterattack you. So, you know, straight up parrying the special one is nice. Then you can get an extra prowess by parrying him again after that. You can see me only using my special 2 in this fight. That's of course because Cosmic Ghost Rider is immune to Incinerate, and I'm pretty much sticking to my light combo ender, again because we don't need the flame spell here, but the Neutralize is really going to be helpful for us. Parrying the last hit of that special again, and I think one more special 2 pretty much finishes the job here. Alternatively, you can go to the special 3 with Wiccan and apply the big energy vulnerability. That's going to increase the damage of your specials and your basic attacks. Either way is fine. I prefer just to do the special 2. I like to keep the tempo of the fight going here. And Striker finishes him off. Alright, we're going to speed through this Lady Deathstrike fight again. We're using Gladiator. This fight looks pretty much exactly the same as it did before. Hitting into our block, again to build up our confidence buffs, and eventually we're just going to out-damage her regen. Right there, she triggered Stand Your Ground, which I had forgotten was a thing in the showcase because I'm used to not doing stuff like that against like quest defenders. But in like war and PvP content, you can't do stuff like that because you risk getting resisted and countered. So luckily, she didn't punish me for that. Steadily building up our confidence buffs. She's being very cooperative again with the Intimidate. We took a couple hits earlier there, but we could heal up via the Torment debuff, which is nice. That's from the special 1. And then as soon as we fire off the special 2 there, the fight is pretty much on lockdown here. We're going to be up close to 20 confidence buffs after this heavy, and then we can fire off the unblockable special 1, and then again hit into her during her special 2, and down she goes. Alright, next up we have a Vision AARKUS on Rich Get Richer, and we're going to use Wiccan here again because he's armor break immune, so we won't have to worry about the cold snap damage. Now that said, it's really important with Wiccan in this fight to keep your Neutralize up for as long as possible, because while you do have the ability to prevent Arcus's power gain buffs, you do not have the ability to remove them, and once he gets all 5, the power gain is pretty crazy, and you can easily be taken a special 2 or a special 3 to the face if you're not careful. A reminder that you should just attempt to parry and or block the entirety of his special 2. If you can get the parry off, get that additional prowess, that's great, but if not, don't worry about it. And then you can either use the special 1 or the special 2 in this fight, it really doesn't matter. I think I just used the special 2 just because he's going to be having a lot of incinerates on him anyways, and we can turn those into plasmas, so either way it doesn't really matter. AARKUS doesn't really have a large health pool here, so again, just be careful when you're baiting out specials from him. Make sure you have enough prowess to cover all the indestructibles, and he'll go down pretty easily. Alright, next up we have an Iron Man Infinity War here with Heavy Hitter and Ebb and Flow Knockdown, so you have to re-parry in this fight. You cannot bait out heavies. Gladiator, again, just so good for this fight in particular because his natural playstyle really synergizes well with the Ebb and Flow Knockdown node. So because you're going to be constantly heavying him, you're going to be triggering the Fury on yourself and removing protection. You saw I got resisted yet again there, did not learn my lesson in the previous path or the previous fight or whatever it was. And luckily it didn't cost me because I was still able to dex out of that special 1. Yeah, so just play normal Gladiator style here and knock him down again to remove protection, get yourself a nice little Fury. We have 22 confidence buffs here, so now we're kind of looking for an opening to fire off our special 1, get that unstoppable, and then we can punish him in the middle of his special attack. Right there, I dump my power into a special 2, and we get some nice incinerate damage here. And I think I do go for the special 1 method here toward the end of the fight. I'm actually not sure now that I'm trying to remember here. There we go, yeah. So fire off the special 1, and it doesn't matter because it kills him outright. So there you go. All right, next up we have a Spot. Spot is not a tactic defender in the X-Magika meta, so we're going to go in here with Black Cat. Now the deal here is that if you get too many debuffs on yourself, then Spot will go fully unblockable. So if you happen to hit into his untouchable and you trigger ruptures on yourself, that's where the danger zone is. So the key to this fight is you really want to bring somebody who can reduce his ability accuracy. So you're thinking like Black Cat. Blade is actually really good for this fight because Spot is a dimensional being. Falcon will work really well here. You could also just use Chee'ilth. You notice I have her on the team, did not choose to use her here. But with Chee'ilth, you really want to get up to that special 2, apply the Tranquilize, and then you'll be protected from the debuffs, and also you'll be able to prevent missing. So with Black Cat again, just build up your combo in order to max out your defensive ability accuracy reduction at 60%, and then the Sabotage debuff from your special 2 adds a flat 40, and now he cannot do anything, and we'll just combo him into oblivion. Alright, next up we have a Void on the Power Snack Mini. This is a pretty easy fight with Chee'ilth. Anybody really who can deal with the debuff. So Chee'ilth will obviously cleanse the Power Sting from 1 too many hits and Void's natural debuffs. So you don't really have to combo count too much in this fight. So having said that, the only real problem then is worrying about giving him too much power from Power Snack. So you really don't want to be pushing him too far above like a bar and a half-ish of power. Because if you trigger Dex, then you're giving him nearly a full bar of power, and there's a special 3 danger there. So, and then I'm going to heavy counter his special 1 here. That is going to pause and refresh all of my bleeds. This really amps up her damage. You can't really see it with all the numbers flying by, but she has so much bleed damage in fights where she can properly refresh those buffs, or debuffs rather. Right there, refresh everything again. We got 15 bleeds running, and he is just melting away. Even though Void's health pool is pretty considerable, you can see he's just ticking down. And we haven't really been in any danger here. I haven't even seen a Power Sting on me, I don't think at all. Right there, I think I'm too far out of range for the heavy, so we just decide to combo, and down he goes. Alright, back onto the shared path, we have Shuri here once again, and we'll go ahead and speed this fight up since I already took it earlier in the video. I think I do take a couple hits early on in this one. I think she fires off her special 1 while intimidated. Yeah, right here. That's just gonna happen sometimes. You really just need to pay better attention than I did when they have a bar of power and are intimidated, because again, the intimidate's not guaranteed. It goes a long way toward making them block, but it won't always force them to block the whole time. It's just still playing this the same way. Do recall with Shuri that you cannot launch your specials while he's unblockable, because she can block unblockable specials just from her normal kit. So if you're going to do a special attack, you need to chain it from a combo. You can't do it while the unblockable buff is active, or she'll block it and then she'll counter you and you'll have a bad time. Right here, we strike her into another combo and he's down. And then I'll speed this fight up. This is the last fight of the content for me. I'm not going to talk through this whole fight again. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video or if it helped you, please let me know in the comments below. Make sure to share it with your friends, your alliance mates. And as always, thank you very much for watching. See you again next time.